Dr. Elias Ward stood very still as the chamber filled with soft clicking laughter. The sound did not come from mouths the way humans laughed. It came from the Lyratha's throat plates, vibrating with amusement. To them, this moment was funny. To Elias, it was familiar. He had been mocked before. The medical wing of Station Kepri was wide, bright, and cold. Smooth white surfaces curved into one another without seams. Thin lines of blue light ran along the floor and walls, pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. Machines floated silently in the air, scanning, humming, adjusting themselves without anyone touching them. Elias felt out of place the moment he stepped inside. He wore a simple human medical uniform. No glowing panels, no floating tools. Just fabric, pockets, and a small metal case at his side. Inside it were instruments most Lyrathi doctors found embarrassing to look at. Chief xenobiologist Sikira stood opposite him. She was tall, her silver-blue skin smooth and reflective under the lights. Her four eyes focused on Elias with open curiosity and unmistakable disdain. "This is it?" Sikira asked, her translator rendering her words in calm human tones. "This is human medicine," she gestured toward his case. Elias nodded. "Yes." More clicking laughter rippled through the observing Lyrathi scientists. Sikira stepped closer and peered down at the open case. Her eyes lingered on the objects inside. A stethoscope, a small light, thin metal tools, vials, and strips of diagnostic paper. "No autonomous scanners," she said. "No nanomedical swarm, no molecular repair lattice." She looked up at him. "You still use touch?" "I do," Elias replied evenly. She tilted her head, fascinating and inefficient. Elias said nothing. He had learned early that defending human methods too loudly only encouraged more ridicule. The treaty that brought him here had not been born from respect. Humanity was new to this part of the galaxy. Useful, adaptable, but still considered primitive, especially in medicine. Sikira turned to the gathered scientists. "You see, humans survive disease through chance and luck. They lack the foresight to perfect their biology." Elias cleared his throat. "We survived because we didn't have perfection," he said calmly. "We adapted." That earned him another wave of laughter. Sikira waved a hand dismissively. "Adaptation is merely delayed failure." Before Elias could respond, a sharp chime echoed through the chamber. One of the floating machines pulsed red. The laughter stopped. A Lyrathi technician stiffened. "Chief Sikira, diagnostic alert." Sikira turned instantly serious. "Report. Subject Theta-7 is showing instability, cellular cohesion dropping by 0.3%. Elias frowned. "What does that mean?" Sikira answered without looking at him. "It means his body is failing in a way our systems cannot explain." She moved toward the inner ward. Elias followed, uninvited but not stopped. The patient lay suspended in a medical cradle, his body held in place by light and soft force fields. His skin had lost its usual glow, dulled to a gray-blue. Thin tremors ran through him. Machines swarmed around him, scanning faster now. Elias watched quietly. He did not understand the Lyrathi physiology fully, but he understood sickness. He watched breathing patterns, muscle tension, involuntary movements. "This began 3 cycles ago," Sikira said. "At first, we believed it to be a minor molecular imbalance. Our nanomedicine corrected it." She paused. "Or so we thought." Elias stepped closer. He leaned in slightly, eyes focused on the patient's face. "May I?" he asked. Sikira hesitated, then nodded sharply. "Observe, but do not interfere." Elias placed 2 fingers gently against the Lyratha's throat plates. Several scientists shifted uncomfortably. "What are you doing?" one asked. "Feeling vibration," Elias said. "Response timing." He leaned closer, inhaling slowly. There was a faint, sharp scent in the air. "Not metallic, not chemical, stress." Elias straightened. "How many cases like this?" 6, Sikira replied. "All high-ranking researchers. All treated with nanomedicine." "Of course." Elias felt a chill. Did the symptoms improve at first? Yes, Sikira said. Then worsened. Elias said nothing more. He stepped back, folding his hands behind his back. Machines chimed again. Cellular cohesion down another 0.2%, the technician said. Sikira's jaw tightened. Increased nanomedical activity. The machines obeyed instantly. Elias watched the patient convulse. "Stop," he said. Every head turned toward him. Sikira's eyes narrowed. "You forget your place, human." "You're making it worse," Elias said quietly. Laughter did not return this time. The room felt tense. "Our systems are flawless," Sikira snapped. "They have cured plagues your species never survived." "And sometimes," Elias replied, "they don't know when to stop." The patient's breathing became erratic. One of his limbs twitched violently. "Stabilization failing," the technician said. Sikira stared at the readings, confusion flickering across her face. "Impossible." Elias took a slow breath. "Your nanomedicine thinks the body is the enemy. That is absurd." "In humans," Elias continued, "autoimmune disorders happen when the body attacks itself. If your nanotech reacts to stress signals as threats, it may be triggering a similar response." Sikira looked at him as if he had spoken nonsense. "You are guessing," she said. "Yes," Elias replied, "but it's an educated guess." The patient cried out, a sharp sound that echoed painfully through the chamber. Sikira clenched her fists. For the first time since Elias arrived, uncertainty showed on her face. "Reduce nanomedical output by 10%, she ordered. The machine slowed. The patient's convulsions eased slightly. Elias exhaled. "That was coincidence," Sikira said, though her voice lacked conviction. "Then reduce it another 10%, Elias said. She hesitated. "Chief?" the technician asked. Sikira's eyes flicked between the patient and the readings. Finally, she nodded. "Do it." The machine slowed again. The patient's breathing steadied. Silence filled the chamber. Elias said nothing. He did not smile, he simply watched. Sikira straightened slowly. "Interesting," she said. That word carried weight in Lyrathi culture. It was not praise, but it was no longer mockery. The patient stabilized enough to be moved into isolation. As the medical staff dispersed, Sikira turned to Elias. "You believe our technology caused this illness," she said. "I believe it revealed it," Elias replied, "and then pushed it too hard." She studied him for a long moment. "You will document your observations." "I already have." Her eyes flicked to his small handheld recorder. She looked almost offended by its simplicity. "You may continue to observe," she said stiffly, "but you will not interfere again without permission." Elias nodded. "Understood." As he turned to leave, a younger Lyrathi approached him. Her posture was hesitant. "Dr. Ward," she said quietly. "Yes." "My mentor is among the afflicted," she said. "If your methods can help," her voice trailed off. Elias met her gaze. "I'll do what I can." She bowed slightly, a gesture of respect rarely given to humans. From across the chamber, Sikira watched them. Her expression was unreadable, but the laughter was gone. Dr. Elias Ward did not sleep that cycle. The human quarters on Station Kepri were small, quiet, and far from the main medical wing. The lights dimmed automatically, trying to follow a human day-night rhythm, but Elias lay awake on the narrow bed, staring at the ceiling. His mind replayed the scene again and again. The patient's convulsions, the machine speeding up. The moment everything improved when the nanomedicine slowed. It had not been coincidence. Elias was sure of it. Humans had learned long ago that medicine was not just about fighting disease. Sometimes the body needed space. Sometimes helping too much caused harm. The Lyrathi did not believe that. A soft tone sounded at his door. Elias sat up instantly. He grabbed his jacket and moved to the door. When it slid open, a Lyrathi stood there, her posture tight with urgency. It was the young researcher from earlier. "You must come," she said quietly. "Now." Elias did not ask questions. He followed her through the silent corridors. Station Kepri felt different at this hour. Fewer lights, fewer voices. The hum of machines felt louder in the stillness. They reached a restricted medical chamber. The door hesitated before opening, its systems clearly not designed to welcome humans without approval. The young Lyrathi glanced both ways. "My name is Talrin," she said quickly. "My mentor is inside. His condition is worsening." Elias stepped in. The room was smaller than the main ward. Only one patient lay inside, suspended in a cradle like the others. His skin flickered with unstable color. The machines around him worked in tight, aggressive patterns. Elias felt his chest tighten. "They increased the nanomedicine again," Talrin said. "Chief Sikira ordered it." Elias closed his eyes for a moment. Then he opened his case. "What you're doing is forbidden," Talrin whispered. "I know," Elias said calmly, "but watching him die would be worse." He stepped to the console and studied the alien symbols. He did not understand every reading, but he recognized patterns. The nanomedical activity was high, too high. "Can you disable them?" he asked. Talrin hesitated. "Only briefly. The system will alert the core." "That's all I need." She moved fast, fingers flying across the controls. The machine slowed, then stopped. The room went quiet. The patient's breathing faltered, then steadied. Elias leaned in close. He placed his fingers gently against the alien's upper limb, feeling muscle tension. "He's in systemic stress," Elias murmured. "Not infection, not poison." He took out a small injector filled with a mild human sedative adapted for alien metabolism. He adjusted the dose carefully. "This is not advanced," Talrin said nervously. "It doesn't need to be," Elias replied. He administered the dose. Seconds passed, then minutes. The patient's color stabilized. The violent tremors faded into small, tired movements. Talrin let out a shaky breath. "He's better. For now," Elias said. "But if the nanomedicine restarts at full force, it will happen again." As if summoned by his words, alarms began to sound. The machines reactivated. Elias swore under his breath. He stepped back just as the door slid open. Chief Sikira entered, flanked by two guards. Her eyes went straight to Elias' open case. "What have you done?" she demanded. "I stopped your machines from killing him," Elias said evenly. Talrin stepped forward. "Chief." "Silence," Sikira snapped. She strode to the console, reading the data rapidly. Her eyes widened slightly. The patient's vitals were improving. "Impossible. You interfered without permission," Sikira said. "You risked a valuable life." "And saved it," Elias replied. Sikira turned slowly to face him. Her voice was cold. "You believe your crude methods superior to ours." "No," Elias said. "I believe they fill gaps your systems don't see." She stared at him, clearly torn between anger and confusion. "The council will hear of this," she said finally. "You are confined to observation only. Any further interference will result in removal from this station." Elias nodded. "Understood." The guards escorted him out. But as the door closed behind him, Elias saw something in Sikira's expression. Fear. The next cycles were tense. More Lyrathi fell ill. The official explanation blamed a rare cosmic radiation interaction. The solution remained the same: more nanomedicine, faster response, tighter control, and the patients kept getting worse. Elias was forced to watch from observation chambers. He recorded everything: breathing rhythms, muscle reactions, stress responses. Patterns emerged. Every patient had undergone recent experimental upgrades, enhancements designed to eliminate biological inefficiency. Too perfect. Elias requested a formal meeting with Sikira. It was denied. He sent reports to the council. They were acknowledged and ignored. Then one cycle, a private message appeared on his console. No official sender. Medical Wing C, Isolation Room 4. Elias stood slowly. He knew the risk. He went anyway. Inside Isolation Room 4 lay a Lyrathi far younger than the others, a technician. Her condition was severe. Two guards stood outside the room, uncertain. "We were told not to involve you," one said, "but she is dying." Elias stepped inside. He did not touch the machines this time, he simply watched. Her breathing was shallow, her limbs twitched. "This is the same," Elias whispered. "Same pattern." He turned to the guards. "If you want her to live, you must lower nanomedical activity." They exchanged glances. "No orders," one said. "Then this is your choice," Elias said quietly. After a long pause, one guard reached out and reduced the output. The change was immediate. The technician gasped, drawing a deep breath. She lived. Word spread faster after that, not officially, not publicly, quietly. Lyrathi began to seek Elias out in corridors, in storage bays, in places without cameras. They asked questions. "How does the human body survive so much?" "You are undermining our authority," she said. "No," Elias replied. "Your patients are undermining your certainty." She looked tired now, older. "Our science has never failed us like this," she said quietly. "It hasn't been tested like this," Elias replied. She studied him. "You think this illness is caused by our own advancements. I think your medicine removed the body's ability to speak," Elias said. "And when it tried to scream, your machines attacked it." Silence hung between them. "The council will not accept this," Sikira said. "Then more will die," Elias said gently. She turned away. Later that cycle, an emergency alert rang through the station. Council leader Veshna had collapsed. Elias was summoned immediately. As he entered the high-security medical chamber, Sikira stood waiting. Her voice was steady, but her eyes were not. "You will assist," she said. Elias nodded once. This time no one laughed. Not anymore. The chamber prepared for council leader Veshna was unlike any medical space Elias had seen before. It was larger, deeper, and filled with layers of protection. Transparent energy fields overlapped like invisible walls. Dozens of machines hovered in perfect formation, each one glowing with quiet power. Lyrathi guards stood at every entrance, their posture rigid, their eyes alert. Elias felt the weight of the moment as soon as he stepped inside. If the council leader died, the station would fall into chaos. And if Elias failed, human medicine would be blamed, not the technology that caused this. Veshna lay at the center of the chamber, suspended above a circular platform. His skin flickered between dull gray and sharp blue, as if his body could not decide how to exist. His breathing was shallow, irregular. The machines around him worked at maximum output. Too much, Elias thought immediately. Sikira stood beside the platform, her hands clenched behind her back. She did not look at Elias when she spoke. "You will observe first," she said. "Then you will speak." Elias nodded. He stepped closer, careful not to cross any active fields. He watched. He counted breaths. He listened, not with machines, but with his own senses. Veshna's throat plates vibrated too fast. His limbs twitched in small, repeated movements. His chest tightened between breaths. Stress response, Elias thought, severe. "Has he been treated with nanomedicine?" Elias asked. "Yes," Sikira said, "continuously." "For how long?" She hesitated. "Since the first sign of instability." Elias felt a knot form in his stomach. "Then it has never stopped." "No," she said. "Why would it?" Elias took a slow breath. "Because sometimes the cure becomes the injury." Several council observers shifted uncomfortably. Sikira finally turned to face him. "You will explain clearly." Elias straightened. "Your nanomedicine is designed to correct errors instantly. It does not wait. It does not question. When Veshna's body reacted to stress, the system treated that reaction as a flaw and corrected it," Sikira said. "And when his body reacted again," Elias continued, "the system corrected harder, faster, until his own biology stopped trying to stabilize itself." One of the council scientists scoffed. "You suggest we disable the very thing keeping him alive." "I suggest," Elias said calmly, "that it may be the reason he is dying." Silence spread through the chamber. Sikira's eyes narrowed. "What do you propose?" Elias did not answer immediately. He looked at Veshna again, then at the machines. "You must reduce nanomedical activity," he said. "Not fully, Gradually, let his body breathe. That is dangerous, Sikira said. So is doing nothing, Elias replied. A low murmur passed through the observers. One of the elder counselors spoke. If we follow human advice and he dies, responsibility will be yours. Elias met the elder's gaze. I accept that. Sikira studied Elias for a long moment. Then she turned to the console. Reduce nanomedical output by 15%, she ordered. The machine slowed. Veshna's body shuddered violently. Alarms sounded. Cellular instability rising, a technician warned. Sikira's hand hovered over the controls. Increase output, she said sharply. Wait, Elias said. Sikira froze. Give him time, Elias said quietly. The body is confused. It hasn't been allowed to respond on its own. Seconds stretched. Veshna's breathing became uneven, then deeper. The alarms softened. Stability returned slightly. Elias exhaled. Again, he said. Reduce another 10%. Sikira hesitated. The elder counselor nodded once. Proceed. The machine slowed further. This time Veshna did not convulse. His muscles relaxed just a little. His color stabilized. A wave of stunned silence washed through the chamber. This contradicts established medical law, one scientist whispered. Elias kept his voice calm. Human medicine has a saying, if you hear hooves, think horses, not monsters. Sometimes the simple answer is the right one. Sikira turned to him. And what is the simple answer here? That your technology never learned how to let go, Elias said. Hours passed. Under Elias' guidance, nanomedical activity was slowly reduced, not removed, balanced. Elias introduced controlled isolation, minimal sensory input, and carefully measured biological stress relief. Nothing dramatic, nothing advanced, just space. Veshna slept. Really slept. When his vitals stabilized enough for the machines to stop alarming, Sikira stepped away from the console. Her shoulders sagged. You risked everything, she said quietly. So did you, Elias replied. She looked at him, truly looked at him this time. You humans live dangerously. We live realistically, Elias said. The chamber remained under guard through the cycle. Elias stayed nearby, refusing to leave. Late into the cycle, a sharp alert rang out, not from Veshna, from another ward, then another, then another. Multiple patients were declining at once. The reduced nanomedical protocol had not been applied elsewhere. Sikira's communicator chimed non-stop. Elias felt dread settle in his chest. They're still using full output, he said. Sikira closed her eyes briefly. Then she straightened. Broadcast the adjusted protocol, she ordered. All wards. Several scientists protested. This has not been approved by full council vote. Approval can come later, Sikira said sharply. Survival comes first. The orders went out. Across Station Kepri, machines slowed. The effect was immediate. Patients stabilized. Some cried out. Some slept. Some simply breathed more easily. For the first time since the outbreak began, the death count stopped rising. Elias sank into a chair, exhaustion crashing over him. Sikira stood beside him. You have changed how we see medicine, she said. Not changed, Elias replied. Expanded, she nodded slowly. But peace did not last. A group of senior researchers stormed into the chamber hours later, their expressions hard. You have compromised Lyrathi medical authority, one said. You allowed a human to rewrite our protocols. Sikira did not flinch. I allowed survival. This will weaken our standing, another said. The galaxy watches us. Elias stood. Then let them watch you choose life over pride. The room grew tense. One researcher stepped forward. Humans are reckless, they rely on chance. Elias shook his head. We rely on experience. The elder counselor raised a hand. Enough. The results speak. He turned to Elias. Human doctor, you will remain on this station, not as an observer, as an advisor. Elias nodded, relief flooding through him. Later, as he walked through the quieter corridors, Talrin joined him. They are afraid, she said. Change does that, Elias replied. She looked at him with something like awe. You healed what our science could not. Elias shook his head gently. I reminded it to listen. Behind them, Station Kepri continued to hum, not with perfection, but with balance. The station did not celebrate. There were no announcements, no formal statements, no public acknowledgement that anything had gone wrong. Official records described the crisis as a temporary biological fluctuation. Lyrathi medicine, they said, had corrected it. But inside the medical wing, everyone knew the truth. The wards were quieter now. The constant alarms were gone. Patients rested instead of convulsing. Machines worked more slowly, no longer aggressive, no longer overwhelming the bodies they were meant to protect. Doctor. Elia's ward walked through the corridors each cycle, observing, recording, advising when asked. He was watched. Some Lyrathi nodded to him with respect. Others turned away. Pride healed more slowly than flesh. Chief Sikira kept her distance at first. She approved the new protocols publicly, but privately she struggled. Elias could see it in the way her hands hesitated over controls, in the way she reread data she would once have dismissed. Her entire career had been built on the belief that perfection was the goal. Now imperfection had saved them. The resistance came quietly. At first, it was small things. Machines reset to higher outputs without explanation. Isolation protocols were shortened. Sensory dampening was reduced. Patients began to show early warning signs again. Elias noticed immediately. He brought the data to Sikira. This ward is deviating from protocol, he said, pointing to the charts. Someone is interfering. Sikira's jaw tightened. I authorized no such changes. Then someone else did, Elias said. She stared at the screen, then nodded once. I will investigate. The investigation took longer than it should have. Another patient relapsed, then another, not severe, not yet. But Elias felt the tension rising again, like a storm rebuilding strength. One cycle later, the storm broke. A Lyrathi elder collapsed in Ward 7. By the time Elias arrived, alarms screamed through the space. Machines swarmed the patient, their glow harsh and fast. Full nanomedical output. Elias felt anger flash through him. Who authorized this? He demanded. A senior researcher turned toward him, eyes cold. I did. Elias recognized him immediately. Dr. Kelshan, one of the oldest and most respected medical minds on the station. You violated the protocol, Elias said. I corrected it, Kelshan replied. Your methods are dangerous. Temporary relief does not equal understanding. The patient convulsed violently. Elias moved forward. He's crashing. As expected, Kelshan said, human interference weakens long-term outcomes. Elias clenched his fists. You're killing him to prove a point. Kelshan's eyes hardened. Sacrifices are sometimes required for truth. That was enough. Elias stepped to the console and began reducing output manually. Kelshan shouted. Guards! 2 guards hesitated, torn. Elias didn't stop. The machine slowed. The patient screamed, then gasped, then fell silent. For one terrible second, Elias thought he had failed. Then the patient breathed, deeply. The monitors stabilized. The ward went silent. Kelshan stared at the readings, disbelief cracking his composure. No, he whispered, that's not possible. It is, Elias said. You just refuse to see it. Kelshan turned away, his authority shaken. The incident could not be hidden. The council demanded a formal inquiry. Elias stood before them again, this time not alone. Sikira stood at his side. You accuse our own physicians of sabotage, one counselor said. I accuse them of fear, Elias replied. Fear of losing certainty. Kelshan spoke sharply. This human preaches chaos. He asks us to trust chance. Elias met his gaze. I ask you to trust life. Sikira stepped forward. Enough. All eyes turned to her. Our medicine was designed to eliminate uncertainty, she said. In doing so, we forgot that living systems are not machines. Murmurs filled the chamber. Kelshan shook his head. You dishonor centuries of advancement. No, Sikira said firmly. I honor survival. She turned to the council. I witnessed the results myself. I saw the patients heal when we stepped back. And the sabotage? A counselor asked. Sikira's voice did not waver. It happened, and it nearly killed one of our own. Silence followed. The council deliberated. Elias waited, his hands steady, his heart not. Finally, the elder counselor spoke. Human doctor. You risked your position, your safety, and your species standing. Yes, Elias said simply. And you would do it again? Elias did not hesitate. Yes, the elder nodded slowly. Then you understand responsibility. He turned to Kelshan. Your authority is suspended. Kelshan's eyes widened. You cannot. I can, the elder said, and I have. The ruling echoed through the chamber like a fracture. Change was no longer optional. After the inquiry, Sikira found Elias alone in the observation wing. He stood looking down at the patients, their forms peaceful now. They hate you, she said quietly. Some of them, Elias replied. Others are just afraid. She folded her arms. They hate me too. Elias glanced at her. Because you chose to learn. She was silent for a long moment. Then she asked, how did humans survive without destroying themselves? Elias thought carefully. We almost didn't many times. She looked surprised. We failed, he continued. We argued, we made mistakes, we lost millions. But each time we learned something small and we carried it forward. Sikira lowered her gaze. Our history tells us perfection prevents loss. Elias shook his head gently. Perfection prevents growth. That cycle, something else happened. A patient woke up fully recovered. Not stabilized, not improving, recovered. The first true recovery since the outbreak began. The news spread fast. Even the skeptics came to see. The patient spoke clearly. His strength had returned. His stress markers were normal. Human-guided protocol, no shortcuts. No overrides, just balance. Kelshan did not attend, but many others did. That night, Sikira issued a station-wide order. Human adaptive medicine was no longer an experiment. It was standard practice. The backlash was immediate. Messages poured in from other stations. From Lyrathi worlds, from allied species, questions, accusations, doubt. How could Lyrathi science fail? Elias smiled faintly. Good. She raised an eyebrow. You enjoy this. No, he said, but humanity is used to being watched when we stand up. And if they reject this, she asked. Elias looked back toward the ward. Then they'll face the same choice you did. Pride, Sikira said softly. Or survival, Elias finished. Outside the medical wing, Station Kepri continued to function. Ships arrived and departed. Trade flowed. Life went on. But beneath the smooth surface, something fundamental had shifted. The idea that perfection was the highest goal had cracked. And through that crack, something stronger was growing. Not technology, understanding. And it could not be shut down. The corridors of Station Kepri were quieter now, but the calm carried tension beneath its surface. Doctor. Elias Ward walked through the medical wing with steady steps. Patients rested peacefully in their cradles. Machines pulsed slowly instead of aggressively, and the hum of energy fields seemed to breathe along with the station. Yet Elias knew the work was far from over. Change, once made, had a way of demanding more. Chief xenobiologist Sikira met him at the observation chamber. Her posture was straighter, her face calmer than before, but her 4 eyes carried the weight of everything that had happened. Elias could sense it, pride bruised, certainty shattered, yet curiosity now alive in its place. Humans have a strange way of teaching, she said quietly. Elias glanced at her. We learn by surviving failure, not avoiding it. Sikira's lips twitched slightly. I see now. But the rest of the station, they are not so willing to accept it. Some will never accept it, Elias replied. But enough will if the results keep speaking for themselves. She looked at the rows of stabilized patients. The hybrids will continue to spread your methods, she said. The council cannot ignore outcomes forever. Results are persuasive, Elias said, even to the proud. They stood together in silence, observing the wards. Talrin approached cautiously, carrying a small data pad. She handed it to Elias. "These are the latest readings," she said. "All patients stable. Recovery rates are improving. Human adaptive protocols are spreading faster than anyone expected." Elias scanned the data. Heart rates normalized, stress markers reduced, immune responses balanced. Every patient who had survived the initial outbreak was showing signs of full recovery. Sikira observed him closely. "Your methods, they are simple, yet effective. It is unsettling." Elias smiled faintly. Simplicity often scares those who rely on complexity. Before she could reply, an urgent tone sounded from the communication hub. Sikira stepped forward, her voice calm but commanding. "Open the channel." A holographic figure appeared above the console. It was the council's elder representative, projecting from the central chamber of the station. His expression was tense. "Chief Sikira, Dr. Ward," he said, "we have received reports from allied stations. They are inquiring about your protocols. They demand explanations. Some are questioning the validity of Lyrathi medical supremacy." Sikira's throat plates clicked softly, a sound Elias had come to recognize as thoughtful reflection. "We will provide evidence," she said. "The human-guided protocols have saved lives. We will document the results and send detailed reports." Elias watched the elder carefully. "Your allies want certainty," he said. "We will provide it with facts. Nothing else is needed." The hologram nodded. "Ensure the data is accurate, no embellishment." "The galaxy will watch closely." The channel closed. Sikira turned to Elias. "It seems the galaxy will learn that humans are not primitive." "Humans survive," Elias said. "Sometimes that is more important than being perfect." The cycle passed with no new emergencies. Patients continued to stabilize, and human adaptive medicine became the standard protocol for all wards on the station. Reports sent to other colonies highlighted the success. Survival rates higher, relapse lower, recovery faster. The council formally recognized Elias' contributions. While some elders still resisted publicly, private messages of gratitude arrived daily from Lyrathi physicians who had once mocked him. Talrin was among the first to approach. "Dr. Ward," she said quietly, "many of us doubted at first. We feared change, but now we see that your approach works, truly works." Elias shook his head. "I did not invent it. Humanity simply learned to listen to the body when machines failed. That is all." She smiled faintly. "Then humanity has a gift we cannot replicate." The following cycles brought new challenges. The Lyrathi Council decided to send an inspection team to verify the station's protocols. Elias knew this would be the ultimate test. If outsiders questioned the changes, all of his work could be dismissed. When the inspection arrived, Sikira stood beside him, proud yet cautious. Together, they guided the inspectors through the wards. Machines moved in controlled patterns, patients rested peacefully, and data logs displayed clear, verifiable evidence of recovery. The inspection team moved slowly, scrutinizing every reading, every procedure, every result. Some Lyrathi doctors whispered doubts, others nodded in astonishment. Finally, the lead inspector turned to Sikira and Elias. "The evidence is undeniable," he said. "These results surpass what any machine-only protocol could achieve. Human guidance has merit." Sikira exhaled, the tension in her body easing. She glanced at Elias. "I suppose I owe you more than I realized." Elias shrugged lightly. "Credit is not important. Lives saved are." The inspector's gaze shifted toward Elias. "Your methods are unconventional but effective. The council should consider incorporating them across all stations." News of the inspection and its findings spread quickly. Across allied systems, whispers turned to discussions, discussions turned to formal meetings. Humanity's medical practices, once dismissed as primitive, were now seen as indispensable. Sikira finally allowed herself a rare smile. "I mocked your methods at first," she admitted. "I believed machines alone could conquer everything." But you showed me that knowledge without humility is dangerous. Humans, you endure what others cannot. Elias looked at her calmly. We survive because we must. Survival teaches lessons machines cannot. Weeks passed. Patients fully recovered, walking the corridors, interacting normally. Talrin became one of the strongest proponents of the human adaptive protocols, quietly teaching others what she had learned from Elias. The day came when Veshna, the council leader, stood fully restored. His skin gleamed with health, his movements precise and strong. He looked at Elias with measured respect. You have done what our technology could not, Veshna said. You have saved lives that would have been lost. The station owes you a debt. Elias shook his head. I only did what humans have always done. Observe, adapt, and survive. Veshna's eyes softened. Then humanity's gift is survival itself. Perhaps we have underestimated it for too long. In the following cycles, the medical wing changed permanently. Machines no longer dominated treatment. Lyrathi physicians began integrating human-guided observation, controlled intervention, and biological patience into their work. The station became a model of hybrid medicine, the precision of technology, guided by the resilience of human experience. Sikira worked closely with Elias, her earlier pride transformed into respect. She began to ask questions she never thought to ask, to watch patients with care rather than rely solely on machines. One quiet cycle, as the station's lights dimmed for the human night cycle, she found Elias in the observation chamber. You have changed me, she said softly. Not just me, Elias replied. The station, the council, the galaxy, they will remember this. Humans survive, and now our methods survive too. Sikira studied him, her expression thoughtful. I cannot undo the lessons you have taught, but I can choose to carry them forward. Elias nodded. That is all that matters. Outside the chamber, the station hummed with life. Ships docked, laboratories worked, and new patients arrived. Technology and biology moved together now, in harmony rather than in competition. For the first time, the Lyrathi realized that survival did not come from perfection. It came from patience, observation, and the courage to act when all else fails. And humanity, once mocked as primitive, stood at the center of that lesson. Elias walked through the wards one final time for that cycle, pausing to look at the recovering patients. He saw hope, resilience, and strength, the qualities humans had honed over millennia. Sikira followed quietly behind him. Perhaps your species is more than we imagine, she said. Elias smiled faintly. We survive. That is enough. For the first time on Station Kepri, laughter returned, not mockery, but relief and joy. Humans and Lyrathi alike shared the sound, a bridge between two worlds built on trust, patience, and life itself. And in that moment, the galaxy began to see what humans had always known. When survival is at stake, humanity endures where others cannot. No machine. No alien perfection. Just humans and the lessons they carried through every challenge. And for Elias, that was enough.